let's say, I've always had a different view than some folks. I've never been that radical about anything except maybe the designated hitter. If you're a grown-up in St. Louis, you choose to be in St. Louis. You're probably a little more socialist than most folks. So you want the government to tell you what to do. Little kid, maybe he's got one parent that's a capitalist, one that's a socialist. Little kid doesn't get to choose. And they force little 5-year-old kids to wear these masks. I saw you went to court in Columbia. It seems like an ice age for something so common sense. I mean, you must have got some left-wing judge that didn't have sense to come out of the rain, but how can it take that long to make what would be to any rational adult a common sense decision?
Well, first of all, you made a great argument, which I believe in more education options for families, right? To be able to make these decisions about where to send their kids. That's one. Number two, I just fundamentally don't believe
charter schools that
right, to have
don't
more
have
options.
masks.
Yeah, whatever. To be able to decide. To be able to decide, or a parochial school. To be able to decide where you want to send your kid. Okay, but on the point I think you're getting at more directly, which is. I don't believe in the forced masking of 5-year-olds. There's no science behind it. There's nothing to support it. Families are best to make these decisions. And that's why we're fighting so hard on this front. Where we're at now, I mean, the flu is much more dangerous for the 5-year-old than COVID is. Those are just facts. The problem is right now there's so much fear-mongering from people who love standing at that podium on Monday morning telling people you got to put this on your face. You can't come out of your house. You get to go to work this day. That's a tremendous amount of command and control that we have to fight against. That's not who we are. You should be able to make that decision for your son or your daughter or in consultation, whoever. Families should be able to make those decisions, not some bureaucrat who thinks they know better than you.
So I saw Judge Green come out with a ruling. And I wouldn't begin to try to understand it, but essentially it said a lot of these orders were not constitutional. Now, I seen a lot of folks that were upset about January 6th. And you know, them clowns, if you go to Washington and break stuff, you already go to jail. I mean, fine, you already get in trouble. But the same folks talk about rule of law, all of a sudden Judge Green's rule, they seem to not think the rule of law is all that important. Where is that? What did that ruling say in a nutshell? And where is that? Where are the cases? Where's the enforcement of it coming?
Essentially, that you can't be delegating that kind of authority to these county health bureaucrats across the state. So essentially, what the ruling said was that that's a state. That's what the DHSS is supposed to be doing. And so, you know, I made it clear we're not appealing that, and we're moving forward to enforce that. And so we've sent correspondence out letting these folks know, including school boards, what the ruling is, and that they're expected to follow the law because we'll be enforcing it.
So what does that mean for the poor? Let's hypothetically say there's like a 5-year-old little German kid trapped in a Karl Marx elementary. Hypothetically, what does that mean for him?
It means that we're going to continue to fight for those kids and for those families to make those decisions for themselves. This one-size-fits-all approach that's not based in science, that's based in power and control has to end. Because guess what? It's never going to end. And mark my words, come 2022, I bet you there's going to be a midterm variant where it's not safe to vote in person.
I got a thought that says there's going to be a variant in April in them school board elections.
Yeah, so the point is, they're making this stuff up as they go along. And I am never going to back down, Scott, from fighting back, because to me, this is a fundamental issue about, again, who we are as a country.
Do you think they make it up, or do you think they may, you and I could look at something, and you could see it as very serious, and I could see it as not so much, or vice versa. I don't think they make it up so much. The problem I think we're going to have is, you keep making up a new variant every few weeks, there's going to be something serious that could happen, and no one's going to believe. It's going to be the boy who cried wolf.
Well, the problem is it's not based on facts and science. There's no study that shows any measurable protection for kids wearing masks. In fact, the good news is, COVID isn't, it's hard for kids to contract, transmit, or get seriously ill from COVID. That's a good thing. Not all viruses are the same. But the people don't want to accept that in these positions because it gives them power to stand up and say we're doing something. Yeah. Well, guess what? That's actually not the prescription here, okay? Let people make these decisions. You're already starting to see in places like Oregon where they say these mask mandates are going away. And people need to wear masks all the time because of the flu. At some point, we have to say, we know what the risks are, and we trust people to make decisions.
And that's what we're fighting for. If you wore a mask all the time, there would be some degree of health benefit. You might be a little safer from something, but is it worth it, right?
Well, but for little kids, the problem, and the studies will show you, the actual data and the science will show you, that because of kids messing around with the masks, they get dirty, and there's respiratory issues that come with that. There's a loss of learning, especially if you learning disability like dyslexia. You can't see the mouth move, and particularly younger. As you get older, those are lessened to some degree, but we're fooling ourselves if we don't think there's a long-term impact for kids, for social interaction, understanding what's being said in the classroom. And so I feel perfectly content with the place that we have here, which is fighting on behalf of families, fighting on behalf of parents, and dislodging this power that people in some positions of authority are never going to want to get rid of. And so we're fighting for the people.